I was compelled to talk about healing. So, my main thing is I am a healer emotionally and physically. And I'm way better at healing emotional wounds and traumas just because I've been really doing it a lot with a lot of people. But I also am able to heal real 3D wounds and 3D traumas. I actually I chopped off the tip of my finger and I was able to get it regenerated within a month. And this is when I was not as pure of a vessel as I am trying to be now. Meaning that I was still eating food that wasn't the best, and I wasn't drinking more pure things and whatnot. My energy wasn't as pure as I'm trying it to be nowadays. So I wonder what I could achieve, now in healing. But anyway, my point is I wanted to speak about what you should expect. Because my team has been going round for round lately as far as discussing how they're just kind of fed up with humans as far as we want to be healed, and yet we won't do the work needed to be done. And I'm going to give an example. So, recently, I did a healing on someone, and they had a urinary tract infection so bad that it was damaging the urethra of the penis. And I could see this in my mind's eye. And I said, I can heal it, but there's definitely some things that you'll need to do. And for the best results, there's some food changes you need, some diet changes, and also some discipline changes, because you cannot expect. Here's what my team is, and I won't say pissed off, because these higher beings don't get pissed off. They don't get this, they don't get that, but they get frustrated. Like, why would I heal something when you're just gonna screw it up again? Just frickin' do it the right way, be the right way to begin with, or if I'm fixing something, then go with it. Work on that program. Don't allow yourself to go back to your old ways. This is your chance. So anyway, urinary tract infection. And as I was diving more into this person and seeing everything and connecting with their higher self, it comes to find out that, their hygiene isn't the best, and they drink a lot of sugary things, and so what breeds urinary tract infection? This is 3D world stuff now. Doctors will say the bacteria in your urine, gets fed by the sugars, going to keep making it worse and worse. Certain foods and drinks and things can actually help combat that. And over time, what I saw happened was throughout this person's urethra, because of the constant burning, bacteria, and harshness of the urine, there is an inflammation inside the urethra, and so there's a little bit of scar tissue. So scar tissue buildup then makes bacteria stick more in that area, and then it's just a vicious cycle. Then on top of it, poor hygiene doesn't give you a chance to heal yourself, and other factors. So I went to go do this healing on this person. It was a remote healing, which my team is completely able to do. And what happens is so I look at your energetic blueprint. So imagine you have a fleshy 3D body, and then you also have an energy body. And so your energy body tells your 3D body how it needs to act, react, and look. And so my team and I go in there, we look at the energy body, we fix it the way it needs to be, cleaning and clearing. And I am, it just comes out intuitively. It's just very interesting what sometimes the team does. It's just, sometimes it's using, different energy waves and lights and things. Sometimes it's, in my mind's eye, I'm seeing actual tools being used, like light scalpels or something that looks almost like a when you shave your face, like to shave, something like that. But it's always like light instruments and light webbing, light bandages. Everything is of light and vibration, So, in this healing, there was a rod, an energetic rod that was put in through the urethra, and there's no pain or no discomfort because there's complete anesthetic. Like what happens is your nerves almost are shut off during my healings. They are turned back on after the healing, so that way when you're pushing yourself or going to hurt yourself or you're going to damage the healing. Because if you go and you do something to counteract the healing, then it's just useless, right? So there was like, I won't even say a rod. So basically it was like a light beam, thin, that was put into the urethra, and then it sort of just dissipated and it sort of just soaked into the body, right? And then as I'm watching, there was also sort of like a light, L-I-G-H-T. It almost looked like a circular brush, but it was so thin. And that was sort of in there, just massaging and removing energetic debris, which will then, which is the scar tissue in the 3D. So the energy body scar tissue just looked like debris, and so I was removing it. And so then what happens is that the 3D body catches up to the blueprint. It's like, this is the way your body needs to be written. Okay, now the 3D body has to fit into the mold. So that was part of it. There was also work done inside the bladder. It was almost like, what did I see? Like an energetic, iridescent, golden washcloth, I guess is the best way to explain it. It looked like just a thin piece of film almost, but it was like a golden energy. And I was wiping and cleaning and clearing the bladder, and I would see pixelated or energetic debris kind of in different colors. It was sort of like a muddy blue color, or like a blech color, and cleaned, cleared, removed that. And so that was on the energy blueprint. And so what happens then, it needs to catch up, right? And so, okay, that's all fine and dandy, right? But so I made all these changes in the energy body, in the blueprint. The person then was given specific instructions to make themselves like a gallon of water that maybe has some sliced up oranges in it, and to drink that water throughout the next couple of days. No coffee, no anything that would be abrasive, no soda. Soda has high fructose corn syrups. No, basically water, juice that's like not even like things like orange juice, apple juice, stuff like that, because it's got so much sugar in it, right? The sugar breeds the bacteria. We needed to have a more pure palate. Also, so it was mostly, like I said, like water with the oranges cut up in there, and then regular water and stuff, like cherry juice or cranberry juice, that kind of a thing, because it's a little more tart than it is sugary, watered down for a extra something that had flavor. And then like teas, any type of tea that is an herbal tea that's not abrasive with too much caffeine or black leaf, so anything like, I'm thinking chamomile teas, or the nice ginger tea, or even they have like lemon zingers, or hibiscus cranberry, or red zinger, or there's like all these different herbal teas. Mint tea is like the bomb for this kind of stuff. So it's not like the person was without flavor, it's just that they couldn't have the damn sugar and the abrasive liquids. And then the other thing I was suggesting is, don't eat high carb stuff, because shitty carbs break down quickly to a sugar source. And so I was saying, try to satiate yourself with a healthier meal of maybe a salad with some meat in it, or some egg or something. I'm like, stay away from like, the crackery snacks and chips and salty things like that. It just sounds like typical smart way to eat, right? And be, but this is real. This is what the team tells me to tell these people. Also was to boost the hygiene. So I was told to tell this person to trim the area completely of hair, trim it, meaning make it short, so that way no bacteria will really cling to the hair, and to take a shower every morning at least. And then when they get home from work, because they sit a lot during the day, they're a computer worker, that they should also do another wash-up type job down there, and to, when they urinate, to make sure that they drip out completely. And also I was suggested to use an oil of some sort, any type of carrier oil, almond oil, apricot seed oil, even mineral oil, or baby oil, something that's light, that doesn't have chemicals in it. I know some baby oils have too much chemicals in them, but you just kind of have to play it by ear. So basically, just to use a little, like after you wash yourself, create a barrier by rubbing a little bit of oil all over the whole area, the penis, the testicles, the thighs, and even the area behind, on your pelvis. Because what it is it's actually creating a nice soft barrier, so that bacteria won't even really stick. It's almost like a second level of protection. And then finally was, because your energetic blueprint is being rewritten, has been rewritten, and now your body has to catch up to it, we don't need you disrupting the area too much. So no touching yourself. No matter what, no touching yourself. And so, that's not that hard to do, right? It's just certain rules. So I'm going to recap. So I do this energetic work, and honestly, my team worked for hours, I sat and observed for at least an hour and a half, and then I fell asleep because it was so much and it was so intensive. And then when I woke up, I checked in with my team. I fell asleep on my chair. I sit on a chair and I project myself and I see what's happening. And I sort of even help choreograph the team together. It's very interesting how it works. And so, like I said, I fell asleep, so obviously my higher self was still working, but the energy was so high that it made my 3D body kind of fall asleep. I woke back up. It was maybe another hour or so later, so I'm figuring that I did a total of about 3 hours of work on this person. And I check in with my team, and they're pretty much finishing it up. And I get the list of rules. This is what you need to do, and I hurry up and I type them up. And the person's quite disappointed because they love soda and they love their carbohydrates, and they don't like the fact that they can't touch themselves. And I'm like, are you freaking serious? Oh, and that they don't want to shave. They don't want to clean the area, in that way. And I'm like, really? I'm like, so you just made me do 3 hours of work for nothing, And so I said, well, it would really behoove you if you followed the directions, All right, I will. And sure enough, the next morning I wake up, my team is like, because I check in with my team every day, and I get a knowledge of like every person that I've healed, it'll almost be like a check-in, like they're doing well, they're not, they're doing well, they're not, oh, this one, and then sometimes I'll feel like, oh, you don't have to think about this person ever again, so that goes way in the back of the mind or whatever. Well, first and foremost is this person's face in my head, and it's like, my team was like, he ended up touching himself last night, because his area down there felt so much better from the changes being made. And and so when he shaved himself, or when he trimmed himself and then cleaned himself and then put the baby oil on and everything, and then he went and laid down and then he touched himself. And so it's like, and then I asked him the next day, I'm like, so how you doing? How's it going? How's the healing and this and that? And he's saying, oh man, it felt so good, and I feel so much better. This would be now 6 or 7 hours after the original healing I did. So he was already feeling good effects. I said, okay, have you been, I said, how about the diet? And he's like, oh, well, I'm like, well, have you even taken away the sugar parts that I asked? At least that. I mean, you could just simply do the water until you can get yourself the things you need. I'm like, and just, do the discipline part of not having the sugar and not having the high carby, salty chips and things like that for right now. And they're like, well, I kind of had, I had soda this morning. I'm on my, I'm almost finished with my, like they had a big 20-ounce soda, Coca-Cola. I'm like, really? I'm like, and of all the sodas, you get like the sugariest one possible? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, no harm, no foul. I'm like, did you wash yourself this morning? Because this is already, later in the day for me. And no, I ran out of time this morning because I woke up kind of late because I was so relaxed when you healed me. And I felt so good last night because I didn't have as much discomfort as I've been having in the past. And in my mind's eye, I get, all kinds of downloads of confirmations and stuff. I constantly am hearing my team. And my team is like, well, he already screwed up some of the energetic programming because it's already, what we rewrote over there is already changed. And so he's not going to have the perfect healing that he should have. We almost have to go in there again and do it again, and I mean, they're not mad, but they're just frustrated because it almost seems like a waste of time. Like, why would you, it's like this. It's like, why would you clean a kitchen, all right, just for someone to come along and slap jelly all over the counter, you know, and not clean it up themselves. Like, it's almost like that. It's like, okay, I'm going to clean this kitchen counter just so that you can come and slap jelly all over it, so that way you can have a nice clean counter for yourself. But now I have to come and I have to clean that jelly up again so that you can have another clean counter. No, you have to do it as well. There's consequences and there's things that will help you get a perfect healing. Plus, in the long run, if you can continue to make certain changes in your life, like these, you know, high sugars and shit like that, that's not good for you to begin with. I mean, I figured that out myself because of my process. I don't drink any pop anymore, and a bunch of body changes happened to me because of that. So what's the whole point of this? When I do an energy healing on someone, especially if it's a body issue, holy cow, you need to follow the directions, because you're not going to get a healing otherwise. You cannot expect an energetic healing to happen if you don't follow the rules, because this is all it comes down to. Your energy body is your blueprint. So if your energy body shows that you have a crooked nose, your 3D body is going to have a crooked nose. If you go into your energy body and you rework it and you make your nose straight, then over time, your cells, it's on a cellular molecular level, they start shifting to reflect the blueprint or the energetic blueprint. And there are people of this earth like me who can help rewrite that stuff because of what they can see in their mind's eye. That's what makes a healer, you know? Now for an energetic, like a emotional healing, that's something completely different. That's where, well, I think I'll explain that in a different video. But the whole point is energetic healing is real. I mean, it's really real. If you give a better palette for the healer and you follow the rules to a T, you're going to have major success, you know? And then I'm going to talk just a little bit more. I know this is getting to be a very long video, but I want to talk about when I healed my finger. This was in the early days of me learning, and I basically worked only with Archangel Raphael. And I was told at the time when it happened, it was like I started just receiving all this stuff immediately. Go get a rubber band and put it around your finger to stop the bleeding. Okay, fine. Hurry up, and I did that. Then, okay, hurry up. Go get a lighter or something and get that lighter really, really hot, and you're gonna put it up against the open area so that it'll cauterize it or stop the bleeding. I didn't have a lighter. So then it was, okay, do you have septic pencil? You know, one of those things that when a guy cuts his face, there's like a little, it's like a salt kind of a thing. And I'm like, I don't think so. Okay, how about, do you have any of that powder stuff that you used to use when you would cut your dog's toenails if they would bleed? And I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, yes. And they're like, go get that, you know? And I'm thinking, I don't want to put that on my finger if it's been something I used on my dog. And then basically I got the idea of, are you crazy? You're bleeding out here. It's like it's a chemical, and the chemical itself is so pure that it doesn't hold a germ in it, and you're putting it on an open wound that is, you know, weeping and weeping. You need to stop this. So I went, I looked for it, I found it, I put the stuff on the wound, and it started it stopped it from bleeding pretty quickly. And then the next step was, okay, quickly go find something that is like butterfly stitches. And I'm looking all over the house. I have no idea where I could find something like this. Lo and behold, there were 2 little butterfly stitches in the bottom of a first aid kit that I had gotten from the local fire station at one of those open house deals. They have like the fireman's open house for October Fire Prevention Month or whatever. I received the thought that go look in this area, in your cabinet, in this thing, and sure enough, there was 2 little butterfly stitches. In my mind, I got, okay, put those butterfly stitches on. I did. Then loosely wrap it in gauze. And it's going to weep, but you want it to weep because you want it to stay wet, because it's going to start knitting itself back together. All right, fine. Then I was told to go and sit down and start receiving a new energetic blueprint of it. I'm like, all right. So in my mind's eye, I was seeing like my finger, the energetic blueprint of my finger. So my energy body was like a normal color of, like white, goldish, whatever. But the tip of my finger was like a foggy, muddy energy. It was very foggy. And so the Raphael, at the time, that was the one that was teaching me, and this was, like I said at the beginning, was like, okay, clean that. And how you're going to clean that is you're going to start using a golden, he showed me like a golden small rag almost, I guess. And then I'm just supposed to keep wiping and keep wiping and keep wiping. And so I was energetically cleaning and clearing the program of loss. And then what happened is once I cleaned and cleared the program of loss of the fingertip, I was able to see energetically that the other part of my finger started reaching upwards into the loss part. And then I watched it and I actually kind of helped it energetically produce a more perfect spot again. And so I started seeing my energy coming together on my fingertip and creating a new fingertip. And then when that was all said and done, then he told me to then I was introduced to Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, I mean, I've always been there with him, but what I mean is that I didn't know that he also does healing stuff. But imagine like a MASH unit, like Archangel Michael can do some big ass healing when in a dire need, like he'd be the one that would put his hand in a wound to hold the person's heart in or some shit like that, right? So because it was such a big ugly wound, Archangel Michael came with a special type of I'm not even going to go into it, but so then that layer was put over the new energetic. So basically, Raphael told me what I did was I made a new energetic blueprint for a perfect new tip of a finger after I cleaned the pixelated yucky part off. And then Michael came along and he gave me this certain type of energy to layer on it to cement in the energetic blueprint that I created. And then after all that, then Raphael gave me what looked like a golden, very thin bandaging almost, and that wrapped around my finger completely. And then with the instructions, you will not first was you will leave this alone for till the evening. In the evening you will use colloidal silver, not Neosporin, nothing like that. No, they told me go find colloidal silver or something like that, silver solution. You can get it right at the store, at the dollar store even. It's by Curad and regular things like that. I never heard of that before. I went to the store, I found it, I said, no kidding, this is a thing, huh? So in the evening, I was told to put that on there very well, you know, slather it up because it needs to stay moist and it needs to be weeping, because then it will, if it was dried out, it'll create big scarring and it'll not regenerate flesh as well. If it's wet, it'll actually regrow flesh. And I said, okay, I'll follow whatever you say, you know, because I trust. So that night I lathered it up and slathered it up and made it nice and wet. And they're like, okay, this shit's gonna weep. So wrap it up with gauze real good, you know, not too tight, but really nice. And know that it'll probably be kind of wet and bloody in the morning. But I don't want you to remove that bandage for 3 days. 3 days, you guys. That is not what I do, okay? I was not happy with that idea of 3 days. So basically, it was from that night through the next night, and the third night. And also was, you know, that I needed to put I literally put a birthday balloon on my finger every time I wash dishes. Or like a water balloon, you know, over my finger so that it would stay, so that I wouldn't get like outside water and stuff into it. So I would keep the bandage itself clean. So after day 3, I pull off the bandage to clean it and everything. And that was the next signal, was clean it, rinse it. I was told to use like distilled water or spring water, not the water from my house because it's full of like yucky stuff. We don't have very good water in this little town. I was told to clean it just with that, no extra soaps or none of that. Okay, let it air dry just a little bit, you know, like they told me like 15-20 minutes or so, and then redo the silver, redo the wrapping, and then we're going to do this every day. You know, and pick a time of day, and you're going to do this every day. And then the last thing that I was told, this was from the beginning, I forgot to say this, I was given a certain idea, a vision of what a YouTube video looked like. When I went to search online, I found that YouTube video right away. It was like a DNA repair restore video by Meditative Minds. And the thing is, Raphael said, I can come and I will continue to knit together this finger, and the waves of the vibration of the music will also assist your body. It will help you heal on a very molecular, cellular level. And he's like, trust, just do it. Well, guys, I have to say, you know, I did everything except the last week or so, you know, because I was so proud of how it healed that I started showing everybody. I started taking the bandage off. And so I do have a scar. But that scar wouldn't have been. But the scar is so tiny. The whole tip was gone. And the scar is just of like, I mean, it's tiny, really. It is. And I actually took pictures of the progress throughout the month. And it's quite amazing. It's quite amazing. But that's the difference between following the instructions to the T and just doing it. You know, you can't expect a healer to heal you if you don't follow the rules, because there are rules. You know, there are things that you have to do, you know, in order to make the changes stick. You cannot expect to do the same thing over and over and over again and get the right result. It's just foolish. So, with all that being said, if you need healing of some sort, you know, I am on Facebook. Look up Sylphia Speaks on Facebook. My rates are on there. They're actually pretty low considering the type of work I do. I'm like filet mignon quality here, guys. But I'm here to serve. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be a healer. In the next video I do, I will talk about energetically healing traumas and emotional. All right. Have a good one.